Meet George Jetson. His boy Elroy. Jane, his wife.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore! I don't have to tell you things about...
Gee, mate, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
The Pinky and the Brain, yes, Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane. They're laboratory mice, their genes have been spliced. They're Pinky and the Brain, 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 brain. Before each night is done, your plan will be unfurled by the dawning of the sun. You'll take over the world. The Pinky and the Brain, yes, Pinky and the Brain. Their twilight campaign is easy to explain. To prove their mousy worth, they'll overthrow the earth. They're Pinky and the Brain, 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 brain.
I'm gonna have fun, and you're gonna have fun. We're all gonna have so much fucking fun we'll need plastic surgery to remove our goddamn smiles. You'll be whistling Zippity Doo Dah out of your assholes.
Hey yo. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's a crazy world out there. No need to be crazy yourself. There's enough cuckoo-ness. There's enough things that are going to come against you in this life. Don't be against yourself. We don't need to help them out, everybody. They're trying to do a number on all of us. Let's not help them. Heyo. Coming at you. Howdy, everybody. Ruled by Saturn says, yup, I'm up. Me too, ruled by Saturn. I think so. Heyo. I had a long day in the metaverse yesterday. After my show, I was on another show. And then last night I was on another show. It's all good. It's a bit too much for me sometimes. But I don't know. Yesterday I just I had the energy. I'm like, oh, let's do this. Heyo. Wes Saturn says where? Last night I was on We Are Awake TV. Some of you guys may know Ian. Heidi was there. There she is. Hi, Heidi. Yeah, I was on We Are Awake TV with Ian. For those of you not familiar with the channel, he's been off for a while, maybe like 6 months, maybe less, 5, I don't know. And it's a channel I used to participate in when I first kind of came on these YouTube airways. And we resonate with a lot of similar topics. Like we can go over there and we can talk about how, water lies level and horizontal. And although that's not Ian's primary topic, he embraces conversations like that. He doesn't reject it outright. I can say things to Ian like, oh, I used to remember when Haas avocado was spelled H-A-A-S, and now it's H-A-S-S, and it always apparently was. I could talk about stuff like that over there, and so can his other guests. We were over there chopping it up. Cadence was there too. Hi, Cadence. Cadence said, I'm starting to think that some of the ladies of the Truthiverse are potentially forming into some super secret femme fatale organization that's going to set their sights on taking down yours truly I'm particularly looking at Cadence, Heidi, Christy Lee dolls. I could see that, like, there's going to be some, I can kind of see it happening, like an alliance forming between those three. With a singular goal: we need to destroy Z. He's toxic. We need to do this for all the women out there as a service. Now, if they could only recruit Steph Davis in there, I think I might be in trouble. Maybe that Gigi Abby Lynn. I'd be in real trouble. Wait, I forgot though, Cadence. Cadence doesn't want me to talk about her anymore. Is that still on? Lovely Quantum Epic Cadence. Am I still like banned from talking about you? Maybe I'll stop just in case you're still like, you still want me to kind of lay low in the whole Cadence thing. Steph said it first. She said, Cadence, how is it you can ask Z not to mention your name ever yet still come here? That's what I'm thinking. Maybe she's like easing up a little bit on that, Steph. Maybe we can like, I don't know. Maybe I'll honor her request. But thank you, Steph, for pointing that out. I was just merely like discussing this like idea I had that Heidi, Cadence, and Christy Lee dolls are secretly forming an alliance against me. I wonder how that would work. Would they all draw me in to that sex dungeon Cadence has going on in Michigan? Cadence says to fuck with him, Steph. And it's a free internet. Much love. I got love for you guys. It's interesting on these on the internet. You know, people have a lot of feelings towards people. People say a lot of things. People make claims and accusations. And the thing about being a presenter here is I'm never going to be able to escape people just saying outlandish, wild things about me. And I don't mean you, Cadence, at all. I'm just speaking about completely other people that I encountered at We Are Awake TV last night. And it's an interesting phenomenon to watch this. The most interesting part is for me as I continue on this process to learn how to observe these things, experience the things that people say, knowing they're complete falsehoods, but then learning how not to react, even emotionally, internally, which has been a process here. And for me, it's just through the process of being here, I've become a bit more thick-skinned. I think it's good for me. A lot of what I'm doing here is an exercise for me, building my discipline, building self-control, a bit more control of my internal state, my emotional state, and really learning how to interact with people in a way where in a way that's balanced, in a way that I could focus on the good things about the experience. Joe Moore says humble. I like that. Even to keep that in mind. Humility. It's a good point. Because there's so many wonderful things associated with this experience. I get to learn from people. I get to share things that I've learned. I get to express myself in a creative way. I get to meet great people. Like I could look at Random Fan right here. I get to interact with Random Fan. We can interact with each other. It's an energy exchange, which is to me the basic, one of the foundational components of humanity. Is to socialize, to share things with each other. And So there's so many wonderful things. But there's the other side of it, right? You can't have one without the other. They go together. Really, like anything. It goes back to the foundational metaphysics of this reality. A reality that is built on a dichotomy, opposing forces, equal yet opposite opposing forces. Doesn't mean good versus evil. It's polarity, positive and negative, black and white, male and female. The very metaphysics of this reality appear to be dualistic in nature. It's just part of the experience. And to me, the goal is balance, reconciliation. How does one reconcile these opposing forces? So, Heidi, can you assure me that you, Cadence, and Christy Lee Dolls are not secretly forming an elite group of femme fatale assassins that are going to be hell-bent on destroying yours truly? Can I get that assurance here? Because I'm starting to see evidence that might be that might be something I should have to worry about. I don't know. I'm just wondering. Not only was I on We Are Awake TV's last night, but I was on our good friend Benton's channel yesterday. Some of you, I'm sure, saw it. Benton let me guest host his show as he had to run out and do some life things. Benton likes to do very long streams. And I know a lot of you guys enjoy Benton. He streams long. He wakes up early and he'll fucking stream 8, 10, 12 hours. That's his style. And as I think Heidi could tell and other people who kind of, are familiar, I have no animosity against Benton. I'm not going to have like some internet beef because he streams simultaneous with my show. Because the reality is, if he streams 12 hours a day, he's going to be streaming over a lot of people. So I'm not going to like start some fake beef with Benton. It's actually fun. Part of me wants to play. Heidi, part of me wants to play my segment on Benton's yesterday where he let me kind of take over his show, but I probably won't. It's a little too niche. If people aren't kind of in on it, they're not in on the joke, it'll be missed on a lot of my audience. But it was fun. I got to sit in there and kind of be silly, have a little fun with a lot of this goofy metaversal beef that's going on. And that was good. Heidi says, LOLZ, you already know the answer, remember? What answer? About you forming a femme fatale assassin group? Like the Fox Force 5? Heidi says you should play a little bit. It's really good and lots of fun. It was lots of fun. When I took the reins of Benton's show yesterday, it might have been the most fun I've had. Literally, Heidi, the most fun I've had on YouTube. It might have been the most fun I've had since I've been here. Steve says monetize. Well, Steve, maybe you and I can talk about that another time about, what it means to monetize here. All those things, dude. Because, yeah, Steve, there's a lot of ways to monetize. I just want to do it in the way that's best for me. Because I can see pros and cons to each method of monetization. All right, Steve. So let me just get into it. First style of monetization would be what you see with some creators, where it's they have their Cash App or their Venmo and their PayPal, and it's send me donations. Thank you, brother Shively. Thank you, brother Shively. Shout out to London, man. You know, that's one way to do it. All right. Now, oh shit. See, Nuba missed it. Maybe I'll play some of it later, Nuba. No promises, though. You know, so one way is the thank you, brother Shively, method of monetization. Yeah, that could be quite lucrative, as we see. If you have a dedicated, loyal following, it seems like, and it's evidence that core members will support you, and they will support you strongly and heavily. That's the positive, right? Steve, head motherfucker in charge. Steve, are you going live tonight? I was thinking about you. I'm like, maybe I'll pop over to that Steve tonight. Steve, if I come over to your show, I'll do it if you want to do a flat earth thing with me. Not like I'm going to fight with people. Steve, I'm not going to go there and scream with people. I don't want to like fight with you about the flat earth. But if you want me to come over and do like a little flat earth thing, I'm willing to do that on your show. All right. He says, yeah. All right. I'm going to keep that in mind, Steve. I'm not sure what time you broadcast. What time do you start your broadcast, Steve? Just let me know. I'll come over and we'll do a flat earth thing, man. All right. I'm not going to fight. I'm just like, I'll talk to people. I'll let them know. I'm not even going to go there to convince people. People could ask me questions. I will bring them inside my understandings, the things that I accept about this reality, and why I, in quotes, believe what I do. All right. He says 9:30-ish. All right. So that's the head motherfucker in charge, Steve. I'm not making any promises, Steve, but I'm just going to say I'm tentatively planning on being at your show tonight. Okay, listeners? So there's that. He said, I more lean to Crater Earth, actually. Okay, Steve. That's actually pretty cool. So we'll go there. But where was I? About the monetization. So there's that way. There's the thank you, brother Shively way, where you're going to get your core group that's really going to support you straight up. But I see limitations to that. But there's limitations to any method of monetization. The limitation I see towards that method is that I can see how a creator would be influenced the more they're being supported by their core audience, the more that creator is likely to be influenced by the feelings, dictates, and needs and wants of the supporters. And then I think the content may be at risk of pandering to a very core group. All right. Now, that's the limitation I see there. Now, all of a sudden, it's you're pandering to the core group that's supporting you, and I think that could become self-limiting. That's the negative. That's the con, as opposed to the pro that I see with that method, which we're calling the Thank You, Brother Shively method. All right, is that you then tend to cater to that core group that's supporting you, and then you're now limiting your exposure, you're limiting your expression, you're limiting your content to the wants and needs of your core supporters. All right. The other method to monetize on here is to put your place some of your content, at least if not all of it, behind a paywall. Now, whether that's your own private server, like your own website, like we know our friend of the show, Crow 777 Radio, or what Crow does, he puts an hour free, and then the second hour is behind his personal server paywall, the website that he owns, operates, functions fully. Now, that's the other one. You take your content, at least in part or in whole, and you put it behind some type of paywall. That's the other option. But of course, we know there's limitations there too. Because now for people to see your content, at least a good portion of it, they have to pay, right? So there's limitations there. But you have to weigh these things. And then there's the third option. You build an audience, and then you bring in for lack of a better term, advertisers, organization, entities, or people who realize that you have an audience, and they then compensate you for promoting their products or services to your audience. At that point, you're not monetizing yourself, you're monetizing the audience. If I'm to be completely honest, that third option to me seems as though the most appropriate, at least for me and my style of content. The fact that I have a show, the fact that I have, audience that at least will I can hold their attention for some degree of time. You have to see on my YouTube analytics, I not only see my views, but I see my watch time. So I know that the majority of my listeners don't just check in and check out. Of course, there's going to be a percentage of those. But I have a pretty good watch time. My average view, my watch time is pretty long. All right, which means when people turn me on, they tend to keep me on for a significant period of time. Of course, not everybody. I'm talking about the average. Based off that, I can understand that at a certain level of viewership, there would be entities interested in compensating me in whatever way to promote their products. Okay, and that's another thing. And you could obviously see the downside on that because it's the same thing. Now, say a content creator reaches a point where they have an advertiser paying them a significant portion, and all of a sudden the advertiser says, that thing you talked about yesterday might have been a little bit too much. Our brand maybe isn't so inclined to support somebody who's going to maybe take a stance against that. Well, now you have a decision to make because now you're then those advertising dollars are in jeopardy. Like Nuba said, watch time is all advertisers care about, not views, right? And Anuba, with the format of my show, it promotes long watch times. People become familiar with my show, just me in general. The characters that come on here, people become involved in their stories, and it leads to engagement. That's probably the best word, Nuba, is people's engagement in your show. Like you said, not the 10-second click where they're going to say, okay, who was on and move on. If people are engaged in the content, an advertiser is going to be more likely and interested in supporting that content creator to promote their product or service. So there's a lot of different ways. And I'm going to bring this up because Steve said monetize. It's not missed on me, Steve, but I'm just right now more focused on building my channel, working on myself, on my show, my presentation, and going from there. But I appreciate what you said there, Steve, because, I think about these things, of course. Nuba says high chat volume. Right, he understands. He understands those things. I get it. A lot of you guys are talking to me, but yeah, Nuba says 8-minute rule. Nuba, I'm just going to let you know my watch time far exceeds 8 minutes. My average watch time. Just know that. Like by multiples. It's a shame you guys are talking, man. I wish I could Heidi says, when you monetize, it plays ads in the middle of streams. Yeah, well, that's when you monetize with YouTube. He said that old Mac is tired, bro. You need a new Mac. Yeah, I know, Steve. You and me both could agree on that. Heidi says it's a spiritual journey. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm trying to keep everything balanced, everybody. I don't want to pendulum swing. That's another reason why I'm not going to come on here and do whole shows where I'm going to be restreaming people the whole time, going over beef. Guys, I can do the next week of my show just restreaming all the happenings in the metaverse. I'm not particularly inclined to do that. It doesn't mean we're not going to talk about it. Like I invited Ian on my show. If he shows up today or some other time soon, that would be great. I'm sure we'll discuss parts of that. But I don't really want to be the person who's continuing the loop over and over and over again. Just saying. All right, maybe we can get this show started, everybody. And Glad to see some familiar faces, some new faces. It's always good. It's good going with this whole thing. And of course, this is day 2 of the new beanie. And as I've said, the new beanie is being worn as a symbolic representation of a new day here in the metaverse. New beginnings in so many ways. And I just thought it was time to not wear the beanie that I've been wearing pretty much every broadcast I've ever done. Who knows? Maybe someday I'll get a background here. And I'll go away from the Pee-wee's Playhouse zombie. Somebody brought that up to me last night. The genie from Pee-wee's Playhouse, the floating head. I think his name was Zombie. Apparently I'm Zombie. Anyway, let's start getting the show on the road, everybody. We had quite a show yesterday. We had a very lively conversation regarding the male-female dynamic. My friend John Thomas was up here. It was quite a lively debate, if you want to call it a debate. Where's my music? Yeah, Steve, you're right. This old Mac might not be cutting it anymore. Frankly, I'm surprised this thing still functions. There we go. All right, everybody, strap in, buckle in. We're about to embark on a wild ride. The ride that is the Z Show. Official opening commencing now. Good morning, everybody. Grand Rising and Grand Approach. Welcome back to Z Show. That's right. I'm Z. I'm your host. I'm going to bring you along a ride this morning. It's always a fun ride. Ups, downs, in-betweens, goofy people, serious people, mentally ill people. You might have one right here. I don't know. Either way, we're broadcasting live and in living color around the level horizontal realm. That's right. Level is horizontal. Testably. Just saying. Anyway, we're about to greet the chat, and I just want to say good morning. Thank you for being here. If you came here for the drama, well, I don't know. There might be some. It all depends where it goes. Right now, we're just going to see what happens. We have some skits planned. We're going to meet some friends. We're going to have a good time. Either way, buckle in. Let's greet the chat. Let's see who's here. Oh, you lovely guys and dolls. That's right. It's a show, everybody. We bring the show. Nuba in the house. Oh, Open Your Eyes, Connect Dots was the first one in. It says, hello, brothers and sisters. Hello, Open Your Eye, Connect Dots. Nuba coming at us. He's our friend from Australia. Mad Mac, much love. We already said hi to you, Steve, the HMFIC. The Arkash, much love. Oi, oi to you. Squirrel Sniper, look at you here. Nice and early. Much love, Squirrel Sniper. Squirrel Sniper is one of those with those British accents that's just golden. I'm going to admit something to my British friends. You paying attention, London man? Squirrel Sniper? I'm a little jealous of your British accents. That's right. I hear that British accent and I'm like, fuck. That is a nice accent. It's smooth. I mean, come on. It's like James Bond. We've all been conditioned to that whole James Bond thing. I'm stuck with this weird American, Philadelphia, Jersey Shore, Guido, kind of Tony Soprano, kind of South Philly Goomba accent. Okay? It's just the way I was raised. I was stuck with it. Whatever. Some people like it. Other people think it's completely dumb. Ruled by Saturn, much love. 3 fingers in the house. Geo Ptolemy, our resident geocentrist in the house. Geo Ptolemy knows. That was weird, my voice just squeaked. Geo Ptolemy knows that, you know, when we look around, you're kind of on Earth and you look at all the stuff in the sky. Geocentric. Earth center. No, people say that's just your perspective, dummy. Okay. Maybe prove to me otherwise and we can talk. Smith W. in the house said, good morning. I went to Sovereign Dave's channel. Something about channels and their ego. What's the matter, Smith? You didn't have a good experience at Sovereign Dave's? I had a little conversation with Sovereign Dave last night in the chat of Ian's channel. Much love, Dave. Smith, maybe you'll let us know how it went over there. I guess he wasn't into your research. Who knows? He's another one of those flat earthers like yours truly. Queen of Swords, good to see you, lovely lady. Steph Davis, already said hi to you. A pleasure as always. Joe Moore, shalom, shalom, and shalom. Da freak, you're culted. The question is, how culted are you, and are you willing to, break your cult-like indoctrination? But you're culted, Da freak. Haven't you seen the lay of the land? We're not like doing the, when we're all like, oh, you kind of see Da freak. It's kind of weird. Anyway, I'll let you kind of just do your thing. Maybe you're missing what everybody else is missing here. Just saying. Much love, though. Let's see how you respond. Anna K. Good to see you, Anna K. Much love. Much love. Maybe some of you guys could tell me about Da freak, your thoughts. Maybe talk to Da freak. Talk some sense into the guy. He's been up here in my panel once. Cadence, lovely lady. Much love. Heidi, Divine Spirit 313. Coco Mario. Good to see you again. Says the boys are back in town. That's a great album. Why am I forgetting the name of the artist? Jailbreak. It'll come to me eventually. Irish band. Somebody will give it to me. Much love, much love. Gigi, Abby, Lynn, there she is. Good to see you. We already said hi to Random Fan. Good to see you again, good sir. Glyph, buongiorno to you. Buongiorno to you. We said hi to London Man. London Man, keeping it above the belt. Special K, much love. Special K, did you check out that We Are Awake TV thing last night? I know you seem like you're interested in it, just saying. Heidi says, thank you. Had to put Z Loverboy in a timeout. Well, Heidi, that you did. Now I'm just picturing you with like me tied up. And we're both in various states of undress. And then I just have to stop. I'm trying to get out of my imagination. Like, I know I love the song Pure Imagination, but sometimes when you get a little too in your imagination, as Jack Talcott has taught all of us, maybe it's not the best place to be. Too much fantasy. Too much fan fiction over here. Then Heidi says, Z, I need your help getting Ruled by Saturn to talk to me. I don't know what your deal is with Ruled by Saturn. Maybe you guys have a little, like, I don't know, like puppy love going on. Maybe it's a little tit for tat with you two. I'm not sure. A lot of people are repressed, everybody. A lot of people are isolated. I mean, come on, look at the last 3 years. Look what they fucking did to us. The last 3 years, assuming things don't get worse, which looks like there's a possibility. I don't want to fear porn people. But the last 3 years will have a lasting impact on whoever experienced it. Probably the children the most. But just because we're, adults, don't think that it didn't fucking affect us. You isolate people, it's going to naturally affect them. We're not meant for isolation, guys. This society that's been engineered for us, this individualistic mindset, this idea that we need to be all homogenized into what it is to be a normal, mature adult. It's bullshit, guys. It's just a control tactic. people's unique personalities are beneficial in a community, in a group. If somebody's a little flighty, a little flaky, there's aspects to their personality that are a benefit to the community, to the group. What do they say now? If you're a child and you're a little out there, right? You're a little active, you have a hard time focusing on their bullshit indoctrination, what do? They label you, they pathologize normal childhood behavior. They put them on their bullshit pharmacia, medicine. They say there's something wrong with them. They need to be treated. They need to change in some way. They're pushing everybody towards this uniform understanding of what it is to be normal. It's against nature. So, therefore, it will be dysfunctional because it's against our natural being. It doesn't work because it shouldn't work. I can fucking go off on that. And the rest. And the rest. I ask you guys questions and then I don't like it. I should look for the answers. If I missed you, much love. It's hard to get everybody. It certainly is. Oh, Snafu Snaps. Mr. Snafu Snaps. He is everywhere, all at once, all the time. One person I don't see is Illumitami. By the way, I'm currently fascinated with Illumitami. He's like, Illumitami's like my number one, like, interesting fascination right now at this point. I've been around. That's right, Unindoctrinated. We've had beanie replacement surgery. Good one. I've been around, guys. 45 years old. Done a lot of things in my life. With that being said, Illumitami may be the most unique, interesting, strange, and fascinating person I've ever encountered. Can anybody like agree with me on that? And if not, name somebody who would be more fascinating. He said Illumitami is here, but he blocked all of us earlier. I don't see him. Maybe I went over him. If you disagree with me, please name somebody more fascinating. I mean, I can make an argument for like John Thomas, who was here yesterday, and other, like, but far and away, like, head and shoulders above the competition, Illumitami takes the fucking gold medal. DeFreak says, I think you have all the talent in the world. All right, DeFreak. Interesting. My chat is saying that you're culted, though. DeFreak's a little slow. No offense, Freak. Jimbo Khan says you're slow, DeFreak. Either way, maybe you'll come up and talk to us again. I know you came up here and talked to me before. Be interested to hear your take on things. Yeah, Geotolemy says level and stationary. I don't want to go in too many directions. Yeah, I don't see Illumitami here. There he is. Illumitami is here. He says, tell John Thomas to find me Saturday. What? Maybe you saw my show yesterday, Illumitami. Oh, yeah, I'm talking about you, Tom. You're fucking fascinating. I don't know. Maybe I see a different Illumitami than some people. Yeah, Heidi agrees. Maybe I see a different Illumitami than other people. The Freak says he might be in jail. Well, that's always a distinct possibility. But that could be for any of us here. We're all a little cuckoo. Yeah, fucking Machiavelli agrees with me. Machiavelli, I'm going to be on your friend Steve's channel later tonight. Tentatively speaking. Just saying, Max. If you want to come talk to me. The topic's going to be flat earth. I'm not fighting with anybody. I'm just giving people a chance in that community to maybe pick my brain a little bit, have a fun little conversation. I'm not going to be screaming at a bunch of people. I'm not doing it. Where was I? I'm kind of all over the place. London Man says, read my message, Z, in regards to Tommy. Okay. Let me read London Man's message regarding Tommy. Tommy, you're absolutely fascinating. London Man, here's the thing. I see a different side of Tommy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just projecting, but I kind of see that he's, to me, I actually think Tommy's like good-hearted, good intentions, good person. I think he's kooky. I think he's weird. But like, I don't know. Like I would trust Tommy with stuff. I'm not saying I would like trust Tommy with my life, but I have a trust in Tommy. Like Tommy's the kind of guy, like say you had a girlfriend and like for whatever reason you had to like leave your girlfriend alone with Tommy. I don't think Tommy would be like a fucking scumball. That's just a random example that came off the top of my head. Tommy seems like he has morals, ethics, principles. You guys could, if you disagree with me, you can come up here and we can talk about it. I'm not gonna fucking, hold it against you. I'm just telling you what my opinion is at the time. But what's London Man says? He says, nope, Z. Tommy said some pogo shit. He needs to talk, yo, ASAP. Well, we can go into it. Just saying. Yeah, Lumitami was here earlier. Man Max says Tommy definitely is good-hearted, good intention. He believes in God and he's funny as hell. I'm kind of there with him. DeFreak says culted hell. Well, DeFreak, you know I do an open panel, so you can come up and we can talk about it. All right. Much love. Much love. Where are we? Where are we in the show? All right. Let's take a bit of an interlude, and we'll come back for the second hour of Z Show. That's right. That's right, everybody. I mean, Steve, the head motherfucker in charge, I'm inclined to drop the link to your channel. Part of me thinks I should just see how it goes tonight before I just randomly drop your link. Part of me just thinks drop the fucking link. What's the big deal? Maybe I'll do that in a bit. But either way, let me get something going as we take a brief interlude. No, I'm not going to play the Bee Warrior singing singing to Bex. Maybe I should play it again. I need to get my head examined. Are you Bex? Are you here this morning? I don't know what time frame you're on. East Coast, West Coast. London Man, I expect we're going to see an appearance from Bex on Z Show in the near future. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that at some point. I want to talk about that. So fuck it, I'm going to play it again. Bex, if you're listening, we're going to play your we're going to play your admirer, Bobby, the Bee Warrior, as he serenades you with this goofy song. I have to do it again. Sorry, listeners, I just have to hear this again. I'll be back shortly. Don't go away for more Z Show. Come on, Bobby. Hit the cue, Bobby. Radio's all about hitting the fucking mark.
This one goes out to the one I love. This one goes out to the one I left behind. A simple prop to occupy my time. This one goes out to the one I love. Fire! Fire! This one goes out to the one I love. This one goes out to the one I left behind. A simple prop to occupy my time. This one goes out to the one I love. Fire! Fire! This one goes out to the one I love. This one goes out to the one I left behind. Another flop has occupied my time. This one goes out to the one I love. Fire! Fire! Fire!
Oh. Thank you very much, good sir. That's Bobby the Bee Warrior coming at us with the REM classic. The one I love. Oh my god. That's something else, Bobby. I gotta say, that was something else, Bobby boy. You outdid yourself. Good sir. It's almost beyond words. We're looking for you, Bex. Do you guys know if Bex is a West Coaster? We're looking for you, Bex. We got to speak to Bex last night. So for anybody who knows the situation, Bex and I got to have a little back and forth, and I'm just gonna say the future's looking bright for everybody. It was nice to talk to Bex. I'm very interested in hearing London Man's take eventually on the Bex situation. Safi says, Bex, do you see this man loves you and is brokenhearted? Yeah, no shirt. You got to give it to the guy. He fucking laid it all out there. He exposed himself, literally and figuratively. He had no shirt on. Yeah, I don't think I didn't notice the beanie either. The beanie did not go past me. Freak says, glad to hear, the freak. About what? About Bex? Yeah. She's fascinating. So many fascinating people here. We just may be a community of like like Asperger's people that just never got diagnosed. This just could be. Guys, have you ever like investigated the idea that we just all may be batshit crazy? If you found your way to these communities, there has to be some commonality that we all share. Maybe we're not from here. Maybe we're like alien. Anybody who spends their time around these communities, like, if we were to really do like a full-fledged psychological evaluation on probably any one of us, we would probably tick a lot of boxes according to the, the DSM classification. Uncle Rick says dysfunctional. Jimbo Khan thinks Bex is boring. Well, it's a matter of opinion. It's a matter of opinion. There's different flavors for everybody. It just really is like that. A lot of you guys are agreeing. You're like, oh yeah, we know we're all kind of fucked up. Joe Moore says star seed. It's one way to look at it. The star seeds, the rainbows, the indigos. What a I'm going to pull a Talcott on everybody. What a fascinating world. Man, Jack Talcott, he does that little weird, ill-timed giggle and laugh. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Like, Jack does, like, inappropriate giggles. And you're like, that was weird to giggle at that moment there. I don't know if anybody else knows that. It's fucking strange. I don't want to, like, adopt the Talcottian ill-timed giggle. I'm just not doing that. Anyway, folks, I wanted to present something on this fine morning to all you lovely listeners.
Joseph here.
Nope,
We're going to take a look.
Not that. Because like I said, I'm going to try to pop on Steve's tonight and maybe talk about the whole flat earth thing. And more, I'm coming to the understanding that my thoughts and the things I accept about this world, when I say that, it's my, I guess you can call it a belief that NASA's lying to us, your governments are lying, deceiving, and that the reality that they're presenting as fact is indeed, at best, a theory, and more likely a deception. I'm realizing that my thoughts on that, if you want to call it a flat earther, go ahead. It's just a term. I don't mind that term. I'll embrace it. But I'm understanding more and more that my classification as a flat earther puts me in a very particular category that I'm not going, nor do I want to, escape. I don't see myself distancing myself from the topic because that would be disingenuous. When I come on here and present myself, I find myself consistently discussing it because it's the thing that interests me the most in terms of what I want to talk about. So I realize that. I'm not going to run from the flat earther tag because I'm the quintessential flat earther. Now, people might have problems with that. Flat earth is a psyop, flat earth is... I understand where you're coming from that. And I've had that debate on my channel. I reviewed some stuff yesterday regarding, 2 days ago, regarding Dave Weiss and some of the presentation you see with the prominent flat earthers. But that being said, I'm never going to escape that tag. So I'm going to continue to embrace it. And for what it's worth, I don't see myself changing my message to chase a demographic, because the reality is, and I see after world here, and he says proud flat earther. When I see that, it inspires me because it reminds me that there's people like Joe out there who understand it. I have a particular presentation here on YouTube. I can probably garner more attention, more listeners, more subscribers, and more fiat, at least in the short term, if I began to alter my message. If I went away from the flat earth topic, I'd probably be more generally accepted overall in the long run. I have no plans to do so. I wouldn't feel good about myself. I'd rather ride what for me is truth and see where it goes. The reality is the flat earth community, quote unquote, is large enough where I think there's room for everybody. There's room for Joe, there's room for Witsit, there's obviously room for Jaren, and on down the line. I can go Sovereign Dave, whatever. I will not change my presentation regarding this. So I'm going to continue with this. I've had people say to me, like Benton, who I enjoy. He said, Z, I like your show. I like what you're doing. Except the flat earth stuff. No, that's fine. Of course, Benton can have his opinion. But I understand that Benton's opinion is shared by many. I noticed it when I was participating on the Unslavia channel with Paul. Paul decided to move away from the flat earth topic for whatever reason. If he doesn't, quote unquote, believe in it, if he believes otherwise, or he just feels as though it's not important, or if he knows that it's going to pigeonhole him in a particular demographic to talk about it, or have others that consistently talk about it. I don't know. I can't be inside another man's mind. But I've come to realize that this is going to place me in a very particular category because I am in a particular category. All right. Heidi says Benton knows it's flat. I've heard him talk about it too, but he also said to me, Heidi, he doesn't enjoy when I discuss the flat earth topic. He said he just doesn't need more info. Respectfully, he said, and that's good. And that's maybe where he is. And he's probably right. Like, he's probably overloaded on the info, and he's just telling me that he's not interested in that part of my presentation. Fair enough, Heidi. I could understand exactly what you said there. But I realized that I would appeal to a more broad-based audience if I went away from the subject. Snafu says, remember Jennifer says we're on a spitting ball and Z has weird eyes. Yeah. Well, Snafu, I partially think Paul went away from the flat earth topic because of Jennifer. You're welcome to come up and speak about it when I open the panel, Snafu. I also think Paul went away from the topic because he's chasing a female and a urban, let's say, black demographic. But I don't want to go in on Paul right now. It's not really why I'm here. I don't want to change my message to chase a demographic. I'd rather just be me for what it's worth, and then people who resonate with my content can do so. I'd rather do that. Anyway, with that being said, let's get into today's episode of the Z Files. And what I want to bring you is a segment I'm going to entitle Nobody Wants to Be a Flat Earther. Okay? So this episode of Z Files is entitled Nobody Wants to Be a Flat Earther. And I'm going to play to you a confessional video where this guy says, he says it's a confession of a flat earther. And he's a man. He's in a, let's call him a middle-aged man, approaching. All
right, so this is
approaching an older adult. I mean, he's got, white hair. He appears to be a father. And he made a video. And he basically gives us an insight into his experience coming into this alternative understanding of our cosmology and of our world. He speaks about the challenges that he's faced on his journey of discovery. When I saw this, it's reminiscent of my experience. It speaks to my experience and many others like me, I'm sure. So I want to present it here and give commentary as this man does so. So again, I'm titling this Nobody Wants to Be a Flat Earther, because I've had it levied against me that, oh, you like being a flat earther because it makes you the special boy. It makes you feel like you're superior to people because you know something that they don't. You want to be different, and it puts you in a community. But the reality is, it's actually the complete opposite. Embracing this truth, embodying it, and certainly speaking on it, alienates one from community. It's a road that is often not pleasant, and this man's going to say it very eloquently. So I'm going to let him say it, and I'm going to give my commentary on it. All right, let's bring this guy up.
So this is Confessions of a Flat Earther. I don't really want to say that. Leave my glasses on. I don't want anybody to know who I am. None of us wanted to be a flat earther. I'm telling you right now.
None of us wanted to be a flat earther. He starts right off. I can agree with him. And now I don't want to speak for everybody. I'll speak for myself. This isn't something that you say, hey, I want to be different, so let me embrace this. Maybe some people do. The majority of those I talk to, that's not the case. It's a matter of coming to an understanding, discovering certain things, accepting certain realities, and then facing that and deciding, am I going to be truthful about my reality, or do I want to continue to exist and live in a lie because it's comfortable and convenient?
On you right now.
But again, notice he's wearing sunglasses. He said he doesn't want people to know who he is. Now, of course, he's showing his face and his voice, but I can understand where he's coming from, especially if he has a job and a family, which he does. Make no mistake about it. Yours truly, myself, there's no way I can go back to my former profession. A lot of people here know I was in healthcare. I was a practitioner at a pediatric hospital. I was also in management. There's absolutely no bridge back to that life, and I'm not lamenting it. I'm stating a fact. Z the flat earther can't be Z the XYZ professional. I can't be Z the doctor in professional world. You get it? It doesn't work. What does that say? What does that say? I'll let this guy say it.
Nobody really wanted this to be true. Wow. Not easy, you know. The first time you hear about it, you laugh, right? Oh boy, that's stupid. Especially for me, you know. I've got 2 master's degrees. I was an astronomy major starting off in college. I took calculus 1, calculus 2, calculus 3, differential equations. You know, not the smartest guy in the world, but got a little something up there, maybe. I don't know. Besides the gray hair. Boy, this is tough. I hate coming out like this. Hope nobody sees me.
This is tough. I hate coming out like this. I hope nobody sees me. This is tough. I hate coming out like this. And I hope nobody sees me. Why? I'll tell you why. Because this guy already knows the social ridicule he's been under. People say, oh, what does it matter? Who cares? Who cares social ridicule? He appears to be married with kids and a profession of some sort. He knows, because he's experienced it, that there's real life consequences associated with him speaking what he feels is true. That's why he said that. But notice he's here doing it anyway, much like myself. I know the consequences, but I'm here doing it anyway. I know it makes me look like a fool to those around me. Friends, family, community. I understand it. I'm not oblivious to it. Obviously, so does this man.
You know, you go through life and you believe the earth is spinning and going around the sun, and it seems pretty basic, right? And then somebody challenges you. I remember that I got challenged, right? German friend. Oh, if you need to seek out the flat earth, I say, you're stupid. You know, it's more French than German. I apologize. You know, I'm trying to be incognito right now, you know. So anyway, you know, I was in Munich. A friend told me to check it out. So I go watch a video. Eric Dubai, 100 proofs the world's not a flat, not a round spinning ball, whatever it was. I don't think the video's out there anymore. So I go back to my apartment in Munich. I'm by myself on that trip, and wow, 30 minutes in, I stopped the video. A lot of good proofs. Watched the full video, pretty convincing. Wow. So I fly back to America, get off the airplane in Atlanta. Look at the pilot, say, man, it took us an hour longer on one trip to get there than it does here. I mean, why is it an hour longer to get home? Oh, it's because of the upper level atmosphere, the winds, you know. Okay. I said, well, if the earth was spinning 1,000 miles per hour, you'd think it would be a bigger time difference, you know. And he said, well, the earth is spinning 1,000 miles per hour. That's why it's an hour different. So he doesn't know. He's a pilot, right? So the first experiment I did as a science-based, I'm a science-based guy. I mean, so I go to Pensacola, Florida. I'm looking at the lighthouse. So I get an altimeter app on my phone. I get a distance map on my phone. I go to the base of the lighthouse at Pensacola. I go look at the lighthouse. I go 10 miles away. I get my binoculars. I put it on the end of my iPad so I can see. There's no curvature. This is tough though, right? So I'm visiting my brother-in-law, and he's a pilot, right? He's flying airplanes for the Navy. He trains pilots, this guy knows. So he's showing us picture from the cockpit, and I said, wow, the horizon's flat across. He goes, yeah, it's always flat across. Wow, that's cool. That kind of proves flat Earth to me. And then I finally tell him while I'm there, I don't really like to tell people I'm a flat earther, but I finally say, hey, I'm doing some research on the flat Earth. He goes, oh, Dave, really? You an idiot?
Right, so here he is with his family member. I think he said it was his brother-in-law. And he's just trying to talk to him about his understandings, right? He's trying to talk to him about, I hesitate to call it a belief. You can call it that if you want. And all of a sudden, he's relegated to an idiot. Like he said, he called him an idiot. Now, this guy has to sit here and either accept that categorization or not. See, that's the thing. When you're a flat earther, you're always that guy. You're always the guy at the dinner table because it's obvious. All popular culture, all consensus is completely opposite. It's easy for people to take that stance against you because they have everything on their side. Media, movies, academia, politics, everything. Everything that's presented through the screen, through this mass culture, is telling them about their reality and what it is. This man has the fortitude to question what he's being taught, and he has to be lesser than. He has to be the silly goofball and, as he said, idiot. Somebody brought up the word today, humble, earlier in my chat. It might have been you, Joe Moore. Humility is the key. Because this gentleman here, much like myself, it's not going to change. You see? It's not going to change. He's not going to all of a sudden say, you know what, you're right, I am an idiot. Oceans do curve. He's not going to say, you know what, I am an idiot. We are moving in incalculable speeds in multiple vectors. That's never going to happen for this guy, just like it's never going to happen for me, because once you see it, it can't be unseen. It's analogous to once a child understands that there's no Santa Claus, you're never then going to convince that child that there indeed is a big, jolly, fat man that every year on December 25th jumps on a sleigh with 8 reindeer and makes his way all across the world. That child is never going to go back to believing in a fantasy. It's the same for this gentleman. It's the same for me. And it's the same for many of you out there. This man is understanding something that many of us are. To engage with this world, we must do so with a fair dose of humility, because we are always going to be categorized in a particular light. That is, unless things change. I don't want to say always.
He thinks I'm crazy. I said, yeah, but you told me the horizon's flat across. It was, well, not when you get to a certain altitude. Well, so it's been 3 or 4 years now, and he hasn't told me what altitude the Earth goes from being the horizon flat to the horizon curving away from you like a ball. I guess he hasn't figured that out yet. 22,000 feet, 30,000 feet. I don't know, but at 15,000 feet, it's flat across. I got another friend who flies for a major airline, and he's a pilot. He knows the Earth is flat. He's never seen curvature. So then, I go to Mount Hood, Oregon, right? I got to do more experiments, right? I'm a scientist at heart. Got to do more experiments. Got to prove this thing. So I go to Mount Hood, go 100 miles east of Mount Hood. Get my altimeter out. I'm 300 feet above sea level. I can see the whole mountain, right? It's all there. Using the apps, using the formulas, calculus, trigonometry, computer-based formulas. That mountain should be 4,200 feet below the horizon, but it's not. It's all there, man. It's all there. Makes it tough. So anyway, all the proofs are pointing to a flat Earth. So finally, I'm going to fly to South Africa. I'm going to Cape Town. So what I did was I was there during the summer equinox, or real close to it, and
let me point out something about this gentleman, what he's saying here. As everyone he interacts with is telling him that he's crazy, he's an idiot, he's stupid, I want you to listen to what he's saying. This man actually went to Mount Hood to observe because he's trying to prove or disprove something to himself. He's telling you now he got into a plane and he flew to South Africa. This isn't a man who's just accepting something on belief, which is the ultimate in irony, because this man is actually doing something. This man is actually endeavoring to discover this world. He's deciding he doesn't want to be lied to, and he would rather use his God-given ability for logic, reason, and critical thought to discover the world around him. And in reality, science is nothing other than a method of discovery. It's a method to discover the world around you, a method based on certain foundational principles. It's called the scientific method. He's using the means and mechanisms available to him to explore his world. Juxtapose that with all the people that are going to tell him that he's crazy based off a belief that they hold based on nothing other than their indoctrination.
while the sunrise and the sunset is 15 to 20 minutes shorter on their summer than what we have in our summer here in North America. It's because the sun's moving faster that time of year, because it's a bigger circle, takes a bigger orbit there, sun going around us. So then you see all this evidence and you can't keep your mouth shut. You got to talk, right? You got to tell people. You got to warn people. Hey, you've been lied to. Then they make fun of you, right? Make videos, put them on Facebook. Your friends, they don't talk to you. Your friends talk to their kids talk to your kids. They make fun of you. They don't talk to you, right?
They make fun of him behind his back. They make videos about him on Facebook. They besmirch his name to his children and to the community. But he's still here making this video because this man believes in the truth. He believes that the truth has value. It doesn't mean that he's right. It doesn't mean that I'm right. But it means he believes the truth is worth standing on regardless of the cost. We live in a world where that's lost to most. Regardless of your understanding about this cosmology and this world, how few and far between are those who still believe in something, who still hold principles as valuable. Increasingly, we're seeing a world that is solipsistic, self-interested, shallow, material. A world that has rejected all concept of a creator, of a higher power, and of God. If you think this is natural, I will disagree with you. I believe that men and women are naturally inclined towards the spiritual. I think we all have qualities that could be considered magical. Co-creative abilities, abilities for us to use our consciousness as co-creators in this shared reality. I think that is natural. I think the situation that we see, this adherence to the material, this adherence to what I would say is some form of rejection of the supernatural. I think this has been engineered for a purpose. And the reality is, those who feel as though they have no religion are ironically taking part in the biggest religion that is currently seen on this earth, and that's the religion of scientism. They're believing in a doctrine and an ideology that has been presented to them. They're holding it as orthodoxy. And it may indeed be the great deception that is spoken of in Scripture.
It's tough. It's tough. Nobody really wants to be a flat earther. It just happens. You're a truth seeker. You go out, you look for curvature, and it ain't there. You look and you look, and you want it to be there so bad. You want it so bad to be there. Come on, curve, baby, curve. And it doesn't curve. It's flat across. And you make these videos, and people laugh at you. They call you names, and they never have any proof, right? Nobody. They show you a picture of the Earth from a composite. They never have any pictures. There's no proof. There's no curvature. No one makes a video of, Bob and Steve out. Hey, we're 8 miles away from each other, and can't see Bob because he's below the horizon. No.
Right, exactly. Because anybody who endeavors to actually investigate the subject invariably comes down on the side of demonstrably, testably level and horizontal world. This man is making a huge point here. If you set out to prove the globe, you will fail. The only ones who defend the globe are those who have not investigated, or those that are purposefully deceiving you. When one investigates the subject objectively, using the principles that I outlined previously, they come to the understanding that there's no proof of the cosmology that's being presented.
None of those videos. I'm not making money off of it. I'm not getting popularity off of it. So I just want to confess to you, got to come out and tell you, nobody really wants to be a flat earther. When we look at the evidence, there's no other option. And that's just scientific. You go to the Bible, the Bible's a flat earth book. Well, then your religious friends get mad at you, right? Oh boy, all these Christians. And I'm a Christian, I go to church. I believe in God, believe in Jesus. Well, the Bible's a flat earth book. They don't like that. Nobody wants to hear the flat earth book. Yep, Bible's a flat earth book. Yep, sure is. Just read it. Nope, nobody likes that. And the Christians get mad at you.
Which to me is the most interesting thing about what this man has said. This idea that even the religious reject this concept. As he said, quote unquote, the Bible's a flat earth book. The Bible speaks of a creation. Now, it's been spun that the creation is not really a creation, it's a big bang. It's God initiated this whole reality, this universe, with a big bang. And then, I don't know, I guess sits back, watches it take place, The idea that a Christian rejects these things, and more appropriately said, the idea that a Christian embraces the quote unquote science of an ever expanding universe with infinite galaxies. The idea that even the religious embrace that shows the level of the deception, which goes to my core understanding, is that it's really not about the information. The overwhelming fact is the magnitude of the deception is so great, so all-encompassing, that the average mind, the average consciousness cannot embrace it because it's too destructive to one's worldview, one's paradigm, and indeed one's very identity. And in the face of overwhelming evidence, they will ignore it because it is emotionally too difficult to embrace.
Scientists get mad at you, and yet there's no MIT grad, there's no scientist, there's no NASA guy, no astronaut that can tell you why you see all of Mount Hood from 100 miles east. No one can tell you why on a curved ball. None of your religious friends can open their Bible and show you from the Bible where the earth is a round spinning ball going around the sun. So I just want to confess to you, don't want to do it. Don't really want to be a flat earther. Ridiculed, outcast, made fun of. Yeah, it happens.
Oh, it happens. Oh, it happens.
I've come to conclude.
Oh, not this guy again. Hold on a second. I think it's just going to keep playing and playing if I don't stop it. Here we go. Thank you, good sir. Thank you for your confession. As he's wearing the sunglasses. I appreciated that, this video. I appreciated this man for making it. And I hope some of you out there appreciated it. And I had to, I thought it was valuable to review and discuss. Yeah, I saw you, Smith. Where'd you go? He says he was backstage. You dropped out, dude. Where'd you go, Smith? I was just finishing the video and you popped out. I'll put the link again. Smith had something to say this morning. That'll do it for today's Z Files. Let's move on. Let's bring some guests up. Like I said, the link is in the chat. You could join above. Looks like Smith W had something to say this morning. We'll wait for Smith to come up. And anybody else who wants to come up, chop it up with your boy Z. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to talk about. Thanks, Uncle Rick. I appreciate it. I'm going to keep going with it, Uncle, because Uncle Rick, you know that Uncle Rick knows what's going on with this whole, like, Uncle Rick, I could sit here and get into like the metaversal drama and stuff like that. And we know that's always a fun part of the show and bring it, but I'm not going to make my whole show about other people, other creators and back and forth. I'm going to continue to do the Z show. I've decided that, Uncle Rick. I'm just going to keep doing the Z show. And that's pretty much it. Let me see what you guys were saying. Smith, you coming up? I know you said you were backstage. You know, I didn't kick you out. Maybe he's having tech issues. You might be on the job site. Let me see what you guys were saying to me as I was doing that, as we wait for people to come up. Like I said, the open panel portion has commenced. Joe Moore says, you can lie to some other people sometime, but you can't lie to all the people all the time. Right. Reminds me of a Bob Marley quote. Jay says, I remember trying to prove curve to prove the globe. And when I couldn't, I realized I was deceived about the globe, that it was flat. I was actually happy, and then things started to get clear. Good for you, Jay. I like what you said there. Because people say to me, they'll say, Z, prove to me what you think. And I'll say to them, it's not me proving what I think. It's I tried to prove what they're telling me. And I found it was fucking cuckoo and bullshit. Heidi says, Sovereign that was just another day in the metaverse. Z and I had our first. Yeah, I don't know your reference there, Heidi. You tell me, says, we are in a recording. We've done this before, question mark. Not sure, maybe. Geo Ptolemy says, there's a church I pass on my way to work that has a globe on its sign. Yeah, Geo Ptolemy, I see that consistently. Look no further than Joel Osteen and his church there in Texas. He preaches with a monster globe behind him. What I don't see behind him is a cross. Now, I'm not a fan of the cross being used for Christianity, but what would you expect to see behind him? A Christian symbol or a globe? Indeed, it's a globe. The globe's everywhere. I'm not saying he's even aware of it. I'm not one of these people who thinks everybody's in on it all the time. I'm not like that. I don't know what the issue is, but you're right. The globes are everywhere. Steph Snap said, Mr. Smith, there are multiple reasons for agencies and WO beast system agendas in play. Yeah. Yeah. I see Graphics is in the house. Graphics, I'm going to be on Steve Head Motherfucker in Charge's channel tonight. The discussion will be related to some of the things I'm talking about this morning. Maybe I'll drop the link to your channel. See, Steve, if I drop the link, I'm going to have to show up. Let's see if we get it. Smith here. Smith, you there?
Hello.
Yo, look, you're going for the whole Z thing. You got a beanie on and you're basically in the dark.
Yeah. It's dark out, man. It's cold.
Yeah? Yeah, I forget where you live. I mean, you don't have to dox yourself or whatever, but are you more of like a northern U.S. person or?
Pacific Northwest.
Gotcha. I'd imagine it's quite a beautiful time of year to be a Pacific Northwesterner, man. I mean, it's beautiful where I am. Late October, the trees are in that perfect autumn, leaf peeper kind of vibe. I had 78 degrees and sunny yesterday with beautiful leaves. So, I'm kind of just trying to enjoy the moment and take it all in, man. And I hope, things are well with you, man. What's on your mind this morning, dude?
Not much. Yeah, no, I was agreeing with you on the there's a big deception going on. I think in the church, I think it's lukewarm. It didn't obviously stand up for anything over the last couple of years, and yeah, they're pushing all the same narrative as the mainstream.
Right. I love the topic, and I like what you said that the churches, the religions, are basically, they appear to be at least just a part of this whole system. I don't see a separation between government and state, right? Because if your church has to register under the tax code 501c3, you're now a registered entity. You've registered with the governmental authority. You're therefore no longer a spiritual or even, dare I say, religious institution. You're just part of the system. And you're exactly right. Two things you said there. One, how every church, basically every church, I don't want to say every, but the vast majority, they simply folded and capitulated to the dictates of the last 3 years concerning the medical tyranny. That's the first thing. And the second thing you said about how these churches are accepting scientism as their actual religion. Where the point they're preaching, yeah, God created this vast universe. God created all these planets and distant stars and exoplanets. God created aliens. And guess what, Smith W? Jesus is a fucking alien now.
Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? Like, it's the insanity and the absurdity of it is almost beyond comprehension. I like that there's guys like you out there who fucking point to it and say, I don't care if I look fucking stupid and goofy. I'm going to say it. But I want to ask you this question, because this guy came up, the one that we were watching, he's got 2 master's degrees, a profession, he's got a wife, and he's got kids. I know you're a family man yourself. Oftentimes these concepts become difficult to mix with family life because they're so divisive. Is there anything that you're comfortable in terms of speaking along those lines?
I mean, I can agree with that. My parents are woken up to it. But yeah, I mean, it's caused some division with me and my brother, and yeah, it's just crazy what's happened these last few years. It's brother will be against brother, and that's exactly what's happened. It's like I'm not trusting the plan. I'm not taking their juice, and he wants to, and that's fine. So
it's funny you said that, because I would agree with you, Smith, that it is scriptural in the New Testament version. This division, like you said, brother against brother, father against son. It's that, the proverbial, I came here not for peace, but, with a sword.
this sort of vengeance. Yeah. I mean, he is a God of love, and it is praise God and love and all that, but it's a time of judgment. It's going to be a time of judgment. And I don't say that like fucking I'm in the clear. I'm a terrible person, but I guess at least I can recognize that. Now it'd be better if I made more changes.
Well, it's interesting because we have this, let's put it like a hug a buddy, fuck a buddy religion now. It's like, oh, the presentation of Jesus has morphed into this like hippie Jesus. This, hey,
Yes.
man,
Yes.
do what you want. It's all good, man. Like, just let it all hang out. And like, that's not the scripture I read in the New Testament. I don't see that at all.
No, and I get a lot of pushback
yeah.
on saying this. People don't like when I say this, but a lot will come in my name saying I am the Christ, and I saying I have the Christos oil. They're not Christ. Yes, Christ is within you if you're a Christly person. So I don't think people like to hear that. The real reason why I jumped on here, I got to get back to work. I'm not throwing shots at nobody, but if anybody goes and listens to wherever I was at last night, the controlled pogo optics are high. Listen to especially after I jumped off. Need to call my field office.
Hold on.
I don't know what was going on with all of it. They were threatening to dox me.
Hold on. So you're talking about Sovereign Slave Dave, Sovereign
wherever I was. Wherever I was, but
wherever you were, what was the experience? What happened?
It was threatening to dock. Oh, I see the red dot on your. It's just like, what are we talking about here? And so I called him out on it. Like, I'm not fucking playing that game. Go ahead, look up who I am. I said, look up who my uncle is. I ain't no fucking agent. I work every day, and I do what I do. So.
All right, that was very mysterious.
Haters everywhere trying to conceal the truth, but I think if Snafu went back and watched that, he would see the controlled government optics, pogos in play there. Some weird ass shit.
Interesting. Well, Smith, I mean, you're speaking for yourself. I'm not going to support or go against what you're saying. You're not even saying where you were, but that's your opinion. I don't agree. If we're speaking about the same channel and the same person,
go. I'm just saying, go back and watch it. You'd have to hear what they say. I don't know. There's some weird stuff being said. I wasn't taking shots at anybody. I wasn't being offensive to any group set or class or anything. I didn't even see the issue. Most of the chat was on board again. Whatever.
Well, what do you think was Well, I mean, you were at a Flat Earth channel. I don't know if it's the subject you were discussing. I don't know if it's gematria, numbers, or whatever. What do you think was the resistance to your presentation? What do you think the problem was?
I wasn't letting the stoner grifter do his grifting. That guy's out of his mind. That guy is out of his mind.
Well, I had a conversation with him last night, and he basically said, "Oh, you need to apologize to me, Z." I was like,
"Well, I'm not talking about. I'm actually talking about his other guy he had on there, and I'll say his name, Rasta Bear. That guy's a fucking grifter."
So, Rasta Bear, I've come across.
Got nothing bad to say about Dave, but that fucking Rasta Bear is a fucking grifter. Come on, bro. No one's buying into it. All is love, Jesus hippie bullshit, and then we got multiple lives, but then we don't.
He's that guy. It's like, hey, man, we're just going to be stoned all the time. And the Jesus hippie thing. And like, come on, man. I know. Honestly, I got that same vibe from him, dude. And the doctrine believe in, Old Testament God vibe. What's your thoughts on the God of the Old Testament? Do you think that's the father of the Christ figure, or do you think that's a different being? I'm interested in your thoughts there.
So and I'm not as well versed as I could. I'm more well versed with Revelation and with things like that. But I think it was Old Testament, Old Covenant, New Testament, New Covenant. I mean, it does seem like two totally different, states of mind, or like you're saying, I'm not saying it's two different beings, but it's like two different rule sets or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, no, I mean, I could see where you're going with that for sure.
Yeah. I have a hard time resonating with the version of Christianity that basically is, is down with the whole Old Testament thing. To me, there are two distinct doctrines. There are two distinct ideologies. It seems to me that the presentation given through the Council of Nicaea, the Church of Rome, and then filtered again through the, let's say, King James version of the Bible, it appears to be like a copy and paste job. It's like, okay, let's take this ideology, that ideology, and another one. We'll put them together and present a religion to the people, likely for a control structure. That's just my opinion. And I'm not taking anything away from the words in the New Testament because I find a great value in them. But I don't see the link between the Christ figure and the God presented in the Old Testament. I don't see the link there, but that's just me. It's my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm right. All right, Smith, any final thoughts for the audience? Because I know you got to run.
I'll leave a quick one here. It might make sense. It might not. Someone was asking me the link between Israel and Kobe in the United States. You have Kobe as Jacob is Israel, and from Israel's founding until Kobe's birth is 11,058 days, like the upcoming 58th Super Bowl. Devil turns everything upside down and backwards. That as a zip code is Phoenix, like the rebirth. It's going to be a trial by fire the second time. So God bless y'all. Take care.
Thank you, Smith W. And true to form, good sir, you left us with the meat and potato juicy truthiness that we've come to know and love about you, good sir. He hit us with the Smith W-ness there at the end. Some people are disagreeing about this topic. Links in the chat, everybody. Backstage is open. Why don't we do this? Let's take a little musical interlude and give people a chance to come up should they choose to do so. Uncle Rick agrees with me. But Uncle Rick and I tend to resonate on a lot of things. Uncle Rick has that old school vibe that I tend to be a part of. I'm in that weird age, guys. I'm the very end of Generation X. It puts me in a very particular circumstance in terms of this culture. I have one foot in the past and one foot in the this dystopic future they seem to be creating for everybody. So I could resonate with the other Uncle Ricks of the world, and I can resonate with the younger culture. Maybe some of you could relate with me. It's a weird spot to be in when you're kind of in that middle age region. Kind of seems like we're stuck between two worlds, the world of the past and the world that they're creating for us. And make no mistake about it, ladies and germs, that is a vastly divergent world. Vastly. Mainly due to the advent of this IT age, this age of computers, this age of social media, and of course this internet age. To me, it is a sea change in humanity that cannot be overlooked. In a lot of ways, I think it's problematic. It's very difficult. Let's think of an idea of humanity that existed in the past. It was a humanity that where growth and change was much slower, more stepwise. It was a reality that one's experience was very closely matched with the experience of their elders. What do I mean by that? It means that the experience of a 20-year-old man, let's say in 1700, was almost exactly the same as that of his grandfather, his great-grandfather, and great-great-grandfather. The culture was the same. The information was the same. The religion was the same. The entertainment was the same. The social practices were the same. What I'm saying is your elders could relate with you and you could relate with them. They can teach you things. You'd be able to learn from them. That's not the case now. The chasm between the older generation and the newer generation is extreme. Some of the older amongst us could probably speak to it. I'm not sure. But I got a bear in the back. I see you back there. I always love to talk to the bears. Do me a favor, the bear back there, a Boston Bear. If you can hold for just a couple minutes, I'm going to play a song and I'm going to come back to you. Is that something you're amenable to? Just give me a yes if you're okay with that. If you're pressed with time, all right, give me the thumbs up. We're going to come back with a new bear, which I'm always excited. You could see Boston Bear. I got a number of bears in my chat, so please hold. He's going to play a brief interlude. We're going to take it a musical interlude, and we'll be back with more Z Show as we meet a new friend. I'm excited. Always excited to meet new people. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this wonderful musical interlude from my good friend and my big brother, in truth, Lucky Haskins. All right, Lucky, take it away, good sir. Don't go anywhere. More Z Show up next.
Excuse me. See that guitar, this. Well, I saw her through the window today. She was sitting at Silver Spoon Cafe, and I started to keep going, but something made me stop. She used to love me a lot. She looked lonely, and I knew the cure. Those old memories would win her heart for sure. Well, I thought that I'd go in there and I'd give it my best shot. She used to love me a lot. She used to love me with a love that wouldn't die. Looking at her now, I'm not sure why I said goodbye. It would only take a moment to turn back the clock. She used to love me a lot. I sat down beside her and she smiled. She said, "Where you been? Hey, it's been a while." And she looked so glad to see me that I could read her thoughts. She used to love me a lot. So I reminded her how good it was back then. I told her that we could start again. Let's just spend the night together and take up where we left off. She used to love me a lot. Yeah, she used to love me with a love that never died. But looking at her now, I'm not sure why I said goodbye. It only take a minute to turn back the clock. She used to love me a lot. Well, I panicked as she turned and walked away. As she hit the door, yes, I heard her say, "Yeah, I'm in need of something, but it's something you ain't got. But I used to love you a lot. Yeah, I used to love you a lot. She used to love me a lot."
There was our good friend, Mr. Lucky Haskins, everybody. Check him out, Lucky Haskins. You can tell The guy's got it. The guy's got it. They don't make him like Lucky anymore. They just don't. All right, let me bring up my next guest. My next guest is named Run Boston Bear. Now, I'm assuming he's a bear. When I mean that, I don't mean like, a big, hairy, gay guy. We all know those bears. That's not the kind of bears I'm talking about. I mean like an Owen Benjamin bear. The big bear. I'm just guessing this guy's a bear because if he has a bear in his name, I'm just assume that. Maybe I'm wrong. And he says, I don't know who the fuck that guy is. Okay? The big bear. I don't mean Ursa Major, the constellation in the sky, which is the big bear. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that call themselves bears. That's it. Plain and simple. Let's welcome him. Run Boston Bear, welcome to the show. Are you indeed a bear?
Hey Z, yeah, I've been I'll help you in just a second. Got all the kids this morning. Yeah,
like a bear, you are prolific in your production of new humans. Good job, sir. Hey, bringing those kids into the world, raising them right, I'm all for it. Go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. Stay back, buddy. I've got a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old. I'm a stay-at-home dad. I woke up to biblical cosmology 2 years ago, and Owen Benjamin was a big part of me understanding because he was just like matter of fact, hey man, they lied to us. Let's look into this. I'm running tight on time because of the kids and getting them to school. I just want to tell you I love your show. I love what you do. I heard you and Rose yesterday breaking down the Tyler Oliveira thing, and I went to Flattoberfest. It was my first time to ever go.
Wow. Okay. Proceed.
So I saw the dude. But yeah, it's an amazing journey. If you see my name change from Run Boston Bear to Run Boston for Ya, it's just because I'm thinking about doing my own YouTube channel where I bring people on and just kind of do like interviews and hear their life story, hear if they're awake to many truths or not, and then break down some of the videos that woke me up. So like different things that caught my attention early on, I want to like clip it and talk to people about it. But anyway, it's been a cool
That's
journey.
great. Listen, when you do that, you come visit us, okay? And I'll be glad if you're so inclined to, maybe participate in that a little bit and see where it goes, man. I appreciate you coming on. And I just want to say this. I don't know if you've heard before, but Owen Benjamin also was very integral in my awakening process regarding this topic. I went through it with Owen. I've said this. I'll say it again. I've said this multiple times. Owen said the thing that tipped my mindset over and finally was the barrier. He said the thing that broke my mental barrier.
Mm-hmm.
I remember he never said, he said, look, if we're moving in an elliptical orbit that implies acceleration and deceleration, you would feel it. And I said, oh my God. And it had been years. This is right around 2017. I had been on the topic for years. And I said, oh, wow, that was the thing that he said the thing that tipped the scales for me. And I'll always remember that and always be indebted to the man. It was great talking to you, dude. Come back and visit us again, man. I appreciate it. Much love, man.
Back on. I want to say what you said a minute ago about being like half a leg in the past and half a leg in the future. I mean, I'm 43, so I grew up playing outside. I didn't have a pager. I know all about getting my hands dirty and just like leaving the house and just playing until dark. But then I also am technologically savvy and I embrace the technological revolution. And I think there's something to be said for people our age group that kind of am breaking free from the spell, because some people, if you're too old, you like love the moon missions and you can't let go of some of that past. But this little in the middle spot it's a sweet spot, I think, for reaching people.
Man, I agree with that so much because you're right. You skew older and the indoctrination's very, very entrenched. And if you skew younger, it's kind of the same thing. I also look at it like this. We hit that time of the internet where they didn't have the advanced algorithms yet that were at least enabled or that was like censoring things, right? It's when you can turn on YouTube and your homepage would show you Owen Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
What did they do? Then they fucking deplatformed. They went from that where it's like, oh, Flat Earth. I watched one Flat Earth video. It showed me another one. It doesn't just have to be about Flat Earth, guys. It's just anything that can be considered truth. There was a window where this social media technology and these platforms were just kind of like the fucking Wild West. If one was inclined towards truth, one could seek it. It is the complete opposite now. They just pulled the Iron Curtain down, and you're right. Now these newer generations, they're not getting that. And it's so funny. I had a conversation with my friend a few months ago about that. We're in some weird sweet spot, which interestingly enough, Run Boston, is it to me gives us a responsibility. We almost have a duty to present this stuff. I love fucking talking to you guys like you.
Yeah.
Come talk to me again, dude. People like you inspire me. Maybe we can inspire each other. It's what keeps me going, doing this fucking shit every morning. I'm
Yeah.
so glad you come up here, dude, and I appreciate you.
Final word as I go out, I want to say people need to be aware of this. People like you and I that are awake in this age group, the beast that's running this show doesn't care so much about what we're saying and doing. That's why we have to say it the loudest right now, because they're targeting the younger generation. They're brainwashing these kids now with the black mirror in the screen, and they're rolling the dice that we're gonna age up, age out, die out, and they can push this lie or just take over completely. So if you have it in your heart to speak truth, speak it. Don't be nervous. Don't be scared of anything. Just be bold. Anyway, that's all I got.
Last thing, do you currently have a YouTube channel that you can direct us to?
Yeah, it's YouTube /@ Run Boston Bear, but it might change to @ Run Boston the number 4 Yah YAH. And I'm not like bailing on the Bears. It's just I gave my life to the Messiah 14 years ago. I do have a lot to talk to you about my own spiritual later. I'll jump back on to talk about when, the truth of our world came in, and the questions about the dinosaurs and questions about a lot of stuff that we can't talk about on YouTube. When all this stuff came crashing in, I kind of took another lap around Christianity, or the religion Christianity. And I'm like waking up also to, well, what's the truth? How do you actually bring glory to the Creator? And I believe it's Yah, but there's some grabbly stuff with translations of the Bible and what man has done with the word over the years. And I'm digging currently at the truth there too.
Great, man. We look forward to more conversations, dude.
I'll pop
So
on,
great
and
to
you
you came up
keep
here.
doing your thing. You're pushing back the darkness, and you're a light. So thank you.
Appreciate you, man. Much love.
Much love.
Look at that. A new friend, everybody. A new friend. Uncle Rick, what did you think about that guy? Uncle Rick. I got a good impression of that guy right off the bat. I'm just going to say, Heidi says, Z, we go overtime since I woke up late. I don't know, Heidi. We'll see. The backstage is open. This is rare. I usually have we've already welcomed 2 guests. Thanks, guys, for coming up. But if you want to come up and talk to me, now's a good chance to do so. Yeah, I love talking to guys like that because it inspires me, and I think he's right. Because I can tell he was right about my age, give or take. And he's right. We're in a sweet spot because the older adults, you don't see too many older adults coming into these things. This guy said I sub to Run Boston Bear. Conspirator, why the fuck can't I find him? I put Run Boston Bear. I don't know how to do the ads and the hashtag YouTube and shit. Maybe I'll go back and do it. I don't want to lose this guy. Here he is, Run Boston Bear. Says good to see you, Nuba. All right, now he's in my chat, and then I'll be able to go. So I'm glad you said something here. Let me go to his channel. Here we go. All right, he only has 29 subscribers. So I'm going to subscribe right now to Run Boston Bear. There we go. Subscription added. And let me drop your link in for anybody else who's so inclined. Let me get this in there, everybody. Please hold. We're going to drop the link for that gentleman. Run Boston Bear. Yeah, thanks, Uncle Rick. Thanks, Uncle Rick. Uncle Rick, you can see, man. Uncle Rick, I'm just going to do my thing. And I think my listeners can see that. I'm not going to do their thing, everybody else's thing. I'm going to do my thing. And that's just the way it's going to be, for good or for bad. I just dropped the link for that gentleman, Boston Bears channel. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link for Steve, the head motherfucker in charge's channel, because I'm currently planning on going on Steve's channel. So if you guys want to check me out tonight, I'm going to go to Steve's channel. Who's Steve, the head motherfucker in charge, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this flat Earth topic. He knows I'm interested in it. Steve invited me to his channel previously to discuss this, and I'm deciding to go over there tonight just because I want to. And anybody who wants to come up and talk to me about this topic over there, feel free to do so. Let me drop his link in. Currently, where is this? All right, so his link is now in the chat. Steve, the HMFIC, is in there. Yeah, right on, everybody. Nice. Yeah, if the world says you will be hated for my namesake. Exactly, dude. You'll be hated for my namesake. I like that. All right, Steve, I dropped your link in. So, catch me on Steve's channel tonight, everybody. The head motherfucker in charge. He does Friday night streams. I'm planning on being there 9:30-ish. Don't judge me, says Fired Up Fridays with Steve. Yeah. I'm going to put the link to the StreamYard if you guys want to come up and talk to me. Otherwise, we're going to get started with bringing you today's news because the show is progressing. We're getting to that time. I'm not particularly inclined to read. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Like I said, I'm not particularly inclined this morning to review the metaversal nonsense that's been going on. I was hoping to get a visit from our friend Ian from We Are Awake TV. Ian, if you're just getting up and you're listening, I know it's excessively early for you on the West Coast. Feel free to let me know you're here, and we'll break into the news to bring you on. But I'm kind of getting a vibe that I want to proceed with the show. And if you guys see Ian pop up, let me know. I'm putting certain people in the job, like Heidi, to let me know Ian's here. And we'll welcome our friend. With that being said, let's get to the news. And I can't get to the news until I get to my news segment music. Where is it? I've been experimenting with like different theme music for the news. There's a lot of options I can go with. By the way, everybody, come on, computer. Messing with my timing. That's not good. It's time for news. Let's try it again. It's time for news. today's top story from the AP, Maine passed a law to try to prevent mass shootings. Some say more is needed after Lewiston killings. Right? Because more laws. That's what we need, right, guys? I mean, let's not just try to address the underlying issue, which is societal hysteria, mass psychological dysfunction on scales that are reaching apocalyptic proportions. But no, let's not do that. Let's just have more laws on guns, as if guns are the problem and not the people wielding them. Let's continue. Portland, Maine. Barely 4 years before a gunman's deadly rampage in Maine, a state that is staunchly protective of gun rights, the governor signed a law aimed at preventing a mass shooting like the one Wednesday night that claimed at least 18 people. It was called a yellow flag law, different from the red flag laws cropping up in other states, to seize weapons from gun owners viewed as a threat. Viewed as a threat. What does that mean? A threat. And more importantly, above and beyond what standard will be classified as a threat, who is creating the standard? Who decides what is a threat and what is not a threat? I always thought that we lived in a country that would err towards the side of rights and freedoms. We're certainly not seeing that anymore. We're just seeing a country where the consensus is now being viewed as the moral authority, and the majority is being viewed as right. That's why I have issues with democracy, because it really just becomes mob rule. And everybody's going to tell me this isn't a democracy. It's a republic. It's the constitutional republic, but it is a representative democracy. You vote for your leaders in theory, but democracy tends to lead to mob rule. That's why they supposedly put in the Bill of Rights. We're supposed to have a judicial branch in this three-tiered governmental structure that is supposed to create a balance of power between the executive and the legislative. The judicial branch was supposed to be enacted to protect and uphold the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights was enacted to protect the personal freedom. What you're doing is you are protecting what is being thought of as God-given rights from the tyranny of the masses. What do we see here? We see the complete opposite. So as they say, they created yellow flag laws in Maine, where what did they say? Seize weapons from gun owners viewed as a threat. Well, okay, what does that mean? Viewed as a threat. Does that mean your family calls in and says, "Oh, this guy's not acting right"? What would they say about me? A guy who comes on and tries to tell you that they're lying about space and the earth is flat. Does that make me a threat? Does that make me a psychological threat? What about the parent who won't subject their children to medical tyranny in order to put them in the public school indoctrination camp? Are they a threat? Are they psychologically disordered? Who decides where's the line and by what authority is one considered a threat? Interesting. I'm just saying. So as we focus on more laws, whether it's Maine or any other place on this earth, to try to curb what they're saying is this mass gun violence, why don't we all just, keep ignoring the obvious underlying problem and not the symptom? Is that we exist in a society that's experiencing mass dis-ease. We're disconnected more and more from any concept of a creator God. We're disconnected more and more from any concept of objective morality, a morality that exists in the ideal, in the absolute, as we proceed more and more down this slippery slope to relativism, moral, ethical, and otherwise. Tired of it, if you want to know the truth. Let's continue. Come on. From the AP, South Korean and U.S. forces stage drills for reaction to possible Hamas-style attack by North Korea. Okay. What I want to point out is first the buzzwords in this headline. I often tell you all, it's not really about the article. It's about the headline and the image. It's about repeating a narrative consistently. The conditioning, the programming is instituted and deployed on a subconscious level. It's not about the content, it's about the perception. So look what they do. They put South Korean and U.S. forces stage drills for reaction to possible Hamas-style attack by North Korea. So they're going to put Hamas and they're going to associate it with North Korea. Interesting. In reality, do we see any link between Hamas and North Korea, really? It's kind of like the link they tried to make between 9/11 and Iraq. Remember that, guys? Weapons of mass destruction. Do you remember when we saw Colin Powell? The friendly black man, kind of like Bill Cosby, the father we all love, America's dad. When they put Colin Powell in front of the UN and pulled that bullshit display about weapons of mass destruction and how they could link the events of 9/11 to Iraq. And in reality, when we look back, there's absolutely no link whatsoever. Well, what do we have here? Right in the headline. How do we link Hamas to North Korea? We'll just tell you. We put it in the headline. We give you buzzwords. We use the principles of neuro-linguistic programming to control you through a fucking headline. Let's continue. From Seoul, South Korea. South Korean and U.S. troops have been conducting live fire exercises this week to hone their ability to respond to potential Hamas-style surprise artillery attacks by North Korea. So why is it now Hamas-style artillery attack? Didn't we just have a word for that? It was called terrorism, right? I thought we already had a buzzword, but no, now you just want to associate what's going on now because it's fresh in people's minds. People are emotional. People are emotionally connected and tied to this Palestinian, Hamas, and Israel presentation because it's fresh, it's new. And what do they need to do? They need to take that emotion and they need to link it to the tired old story of North Korea. Why? I don't know. You tell me. Kind of seems like an agenda. From the AP, Israel says the vast network of Hamas tunnels will make a ground offensive long and difficult. Long and difficult. Wow, here's the thing. I always heard that Israel had a huge military. Apparently they are nuclear capable, if you believe in that. You would think they would have no problem with a bunch of quote-unquote terrorists. Kind of like you wouldn't have thought that the U.S. would have had a problem bringing down that, Osama bin Laden because he was hiding in a cave. But apparently we're going to look at a, quote, ground offensive that's long and difficult. Kind of like, that thing we're seeing in the Ukraine and Russia that's apparently still going on. Long and difficult, protracted, extended conflict seems to be the name of the game. Why would we want a fast war? Who benefits from a fast conflict? Apparently nobody. Because as I say over and over again, it's really not about who wins the war. It's about the war itself. The goal is war. Plain and simple. So now apparently, because they have tunnels, we're in for a ground offensive and long, difficult war. I remember a war not too long ago, before I was born, but not that much before I was born, called the Vietnam conflict. They didn't have the balls to call it a war. Well, we were presented with a bunch of Viet Cong that had a lot of long and difficult tunnels. So much like the idea that America was engaged in a long, drawn-out, and protracted conflict in Vietnam, when obviously we should have been able to wipe them out within days, if not weeks, if anything were real. We're obviously now being presented with the same narrative in Hamas. Because they have tunnels, it's going to be long and drawn out. Let's continue with the article. Israel's defense minister said Friday that it expects to launch a ground offensive into Gaza soon that will be long and difficult and aim to destroy a vast network of tunnels used by the territory's militant Hamas leaders. Well, maybe they wouldn't have had to build so many tunnels if he didn't isolate them into a West Bank, which is basically an open-air prison. It's like I keep saying to you guys, it's almost like they designed the geography of the area to engender conflict. It's almost like they created the state of Israel to promote what some can say is the fulfillment of scriptural and biblical prophecy. It's almost like they're trying to play out Revelation through a script, and we're just watching it. It's goofy and it's a joke, and I'm not buying any of it. In celebrity news from Elle, Taylor Swift addresses rumors about her sexuality and why she purposely had an all-girls squad. Interesting. Whether or not one gives two shits about Taylor Swift and her sexuality is up for question. Now, is she an attractive young lady? Of course. I don't know, many of you listeners tell me that she might not be a young lady, but that's besides the point. But what's notable to me is, again, in the headline, the continued and steady presentation of the gender argument. I don't know about you guys. A lot of my listeners disagree. I don't have a problem with people's gender. I don't have a problem with their gender identity. I'm not particularly interested in people's sexual identity either. But I tell you who is interested, and that's mainstream news, because they continually want to present stories about people and their sexual identification and gender identity. To me, this is a divisive tactic. Many of you disagree with me on the topic, and that's fine. You can continue to do so. We can still be metaversal friends. I see the gender thing as divisive. To me, somebody is not intrinsically good or bad based on their gender identity and based on their sexual orientation. It's a moot point to me. I don't think it's anti-Christian to be gay. Many people will disagree with me. I don't think it's anti-anything to be gay. Strong arguments can be made on both sides. I don't see it. I don't see myself changing on this subject. Let's be realistic. I see women that are so masculine. How could you expect otherwise from them? And I see men that are so feminine. How could you expect otherwise? You would be expecting them to go against their nature. Now, you can make an argument that homosexuality goes against nature, but that's only your concept of nature that is likely based on certain foundational beliefs that you have. If you see the presentation of these people, let's look at the environment. Let's look at the fetal development of the modern person. Let's look at the chemicals that children developing are being exposed to in vitro. Let's look at the hormones that are in the foods that we consume, that are being passed on from the mother to the child. Let's look at the world that we have around us. We're being exposed to particular tetragenic, it's a word, you can look it up, tetragenic conditions in utero. Let's take it to a different level. Let's look spiritually. We're told that we're existing in the time of Aquarius, that we're moving into the time of Aquarius. What does that mean? It means we may be entering an energetic shift in this realm, in humanity, where the genders become somewhat fluid. We could all easily conceive this as a dark Luciferian or satanic agenda to push us towards some type of dystopian New World Order. It's possible, and I'm not discounting that. But when you see the presentation of the androgyny and the transgendered, it's easy to say it's all an agenda. I'm imploring my listeners to try to look at this subject with more of an openness. We may be entering a time energetically, consciously, and spiritually, a time in which we see greater gender and sexual fluidity. And I'll leave it there. That'll do it for this segment of the Z Show that I call News. And indeed, you lovely guys and dolls, that'll bring us to the end of another Z Show. As much as I'd like to stay on and keep going, I did a lot of broadcasting yesterday, and my plan is to jump on our friend Steve, the HMFIC of Steve's channel tonight. I'll drop the link one more time, as long as my phone doesn't die. And that might do so. Let me see. Get this out. Yeah, links in the chat, everybody. I'm going to head over there and talk to Steve. Steve is an ex-Marine. He comes, he's a listener of Z Show. He's been on my channel a number of times. And he's asked me to come on his show previously to discuss Flat Earth. In no way is Steve a Flat Earther. I think he would agree with that. But he seems to be interested in the topic. It's not a Flat Earth channel. I do expect some discussion. I'm going to try to keep it civil and lively. I don't really feel like screaming at globies anymore. It's goofy, it's silly, and I'm frankly over it. Anyway, links in the chat. Join me over there tonight if you're willing. And I already see he has it scheduled. He says butter in the coffee. Look for me tonight, Steve. We'll do our thing. This might be the shortest Z show I've ever done, but like I said, guys, I did a lot of streaming yesterday. So we'll move on from it. I'm doing more tonight. Oh, y'all. We've come to the end of our journey here this morning. This Friday, which means I will not be broadcasting here tomorrow or the next day. I don't do weekends. So if the fates are willing, we'll be back here Monday morning bright and early. Same Z time, same Z channel. Much love, everybody. Take care of yourselves.